Hey, welcome back. Amanda with the Happy Homestead here. As you remember from the last video, I have a lot of peaches to process. I've already gotten through one 25-pound box and I've got 50 more pounds to go. So I'm going to show you what I've done with that first 25-pound box and then also kind of show you what I plan to do next. So here is a box now. I want to let you know that I processed that first 25-pound box within a couple of days of receiving it. And the other 50 pounds have been in our garage refrigerator. I just took this box out. So these peaches, I've picked them up about a week and a half ago, and they've been in the fridge the whole time, right? And they are still really hard, and that is a good thing. So I just want to let you know that you can keep these and extend the life of these, right, from them all going ripe at once by keeping them in the refrigerator. Now they're not going to last forever, but so far a week and a half in, I'm very pleased. But my goal is to get the rest of these 50 pounds processed over this next week. And so what I did with that first box is I froze a bunch. I think I already have about 3 gallon-sized freezer bags in our freezer. So they don't have to be ripe to do this. I basically just cut my peach, right? And I'm not going to do this for you because I think you can figure this out, right? But I cut it along the circumference. Right word here. I can't cut through it because there's a pit, right? But I got my blade in, and then I would just kind of roll it around, and then I would go on the cross side and do the same thing, and then basically twist and then twist again, and you get all 4 pieces off with the pit not attached. Very simple, so fast, so easy. And then I would put the quarters here on a parchment lined cookie sheet and then threw them in the freezer. And the reason I put them on the cookie sheet first is because if I were to just throw the peaches in here and then put the bag in the freezer, it is going to freeze in one big mass. And that doesn't really help you when you need to get just a few out. So that's why I freeze them separate. Now I do this with strawberries, I do this with pears or any other kind of fruit. Blueberries and blackberries I don't do it with because they freeze pretty easily just on their own without getting into a big clump. But with the peaches, you're going to want to separate them and freeze them individually first. So I'm just throwing this into my Ziploc bag, and these will go in the freezer. So you're probably thinking, what are you going to do with all those frozen peaches? Well, smoothies for one, and my children actually really love to just take a frozen peach and eat it. They're a really good snack. It's a great way to have fresh peaches in the middle and dead of winter. We also can make jam from this later on in the winter if we choose to. I could make barbecue sauce, right? Just anything that you would basically use kind of a mashed peach for. I could actually also use this for a peach cobbler in the winter too. So I'm going to put these in the freezer. I don't think I plan on freezing any more at this point. Like I said, I think I have now 3 or 4 gallon bags, and that should be plenty. So let me put these in the freezer and show you the next thing that I did. All right, so next on the list was dehydration. So I would take my peaches and I would slice them very thin. So I would do the same thing first, right? I'd cut around the whole circumference of the peach and then twist it apart into 2 halves. And I threw my pit for both of the freezing and the dehydrating. I put my pits in a container here. And then, so I'd have 2 halves, right? And I would slice the halves into as thin pieces as I could get. I would actually put them on the sheets first because peaches are really sticky, they're really gooey, right? They're very liquidy. So I'd put the halves here and I would dehydrate for maybe 8 hours or so at around 120, 130 degrees. And then I would flip them. So I would take this, flip it, and then very gently peel it back and take the pieces off. and then dehydrate them on just the mesh. And that way they didn't all stick to the mesh right away. It was easier to peel them off of here and then put that kind of semi-drier side down on the mesh with the more wet side up to get dehydrated more. So I dehydrated a bunch of these. And that is what I have here in this Phyto jar. And so these are all dehydrated peaches. And they are beautiful. They're an easy, quick snack. They're very hard, very crunchy. And it's just, again, a great way to enjoy some peaches all year long. So I only have this one jar of dehydrated peaches. I do plan on doing more. I'd really like to triple this amount to get us through the year, because it's just a really great school snacks to send to school, and just even general snacking instead of like potato chips. So I need to do more dehydrated peaches. The last thing, and this is really what I want to kind of show you and go through you with this process today, is I saved all of my pits. So you can see there's some ice crystals on them from them being in the freezer, and they really are kind of a large mass. This is exactly what would happen, by the way, if you just threw freezers into the Ziploc bag without freezing them individually first. But I knew that I was not going to be able to get to these pits, you know, anytime soon. So that's why I kept them in the freezer. I just wanted to preserve that flavor and that freshness. But now what we're going to do with this is make a peach pit jelly. I love this concept. I love this idea because truly nothing goes to waste. So there's no set amount that you need as far as pounds or the number of pits. But what you do want is, after you put these in a pan, you're going to cover it with water. You really want to have around 4 cups of water after everything's boiled and we get some of the good flavoring here. So let me start with showing you what we're doing. Just going to throw that in here, and I'm going to cover this with water. Okay, so this is sufficiently covered, and I know this is probably close to 5 or 6 cups of water. We're just gonna leave this on the counter overnight. And then basically tomorrow morning, we'll come back to this, put this on the stove, boil it, and really get as much of the goodness as we can. But you're gonna leave it sit overnight. Not only does it help the pits thaw, but it really helps just soften everything up so we can get all of the good peach flavor within the water, which we will then use to make our jelly tomorrow. So I'm gonna go put this on the counter. I gotta go back to my day, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Good morning, we're back. It's the next day. I just turned the stove on. There is the pan with our peach pits that were covered in the water. I just left it there all night overnight. And so now I'm gonna actually start boiling the water and really trying to get as much of that peach juice out as possible. So I decided, I don't know if it was somewhere in the middle of the night in my, you know, one of my sessions of where I couldn't sleep, right? My brain just races sometimes at night. And I was like, do I really want peach jelly? No, I don't. I think I want like a hot pepper peach jelly. Something with like a little sweet heat I think would be really good and just a little bit more versatile. So I have these gorgeous hot little red peppers from our garden. I don't even know what they are. They might be pimento peppers, so they might not be too hot. I've got more behind me from the garden, so if I need to add more heat, I can. I can also just add some dried red pepper flakes if I had to, but we're gonna see how hot these are. But they're so pretty, and I just think they'll look so pretty in the jar too, because I'm thinking this jelly may be used for Christmas gifts. I don't know yet, but it's never too late to start thinking about what you can hand make for gifts during the gift giving season later on. So I'm going to use these and make a hot pepper peach jelly. And so that does change the recipe a little bit. Now, before I go too much further into that, just like I had made, I I forget which jam I made earlier on, but I used Pamona's Pectin. Oh, strawberry jam, that's what I used. And I used the Pamona's Pectin. So I still have some of that calcium water in the refrigerator, and I'm gonna get that out. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Pamona's Pectin, it's an all natural pectin that is not loaded with additional sugars, right? So when you buy that other powdered pectin in the store, there's actually a lot of sugar added to it. And you're already adding sugar to your recipe. It's just a lot of sugar. So we really like Pamona's. It's an all natural pectin, and it allows you to reduce the amount of sugar in your recipe so it's not overly sweet. And so that's what I'm using today. And so with this recipe, this is actually a recipe that I found on the Pamona Pectin website. I will link it down below in the show notes. But the gist of it is, it's pretty simple. You're gonna have 4 cups of your peach juice, right? I had mentioned that yesterday. Even if you're doing a ball recipe, it's still 4 cups, right? So 4 cups of peach juice. We're gonna add no more than 1 cup of peppers, chopped peppers. Now it could be a combination, actually the recipe says a 1/2 cup of bell pepper and a 1/2 cup of jalapenos. So I'll probably mix it up a bit, but you do not want more than 1 cup. The reason this is because peach juice is pretty acidic, right? Just like any other juice, it's more acidic. So it can go easily with that water bath or that steam canning, which I've got my steam canner behind me. We're gonna steam can these. Peppers are not acidic. And so because we're adding these into the recipe, we're going to be needing to add a little bit of vinegar as well, just to help keep that acidity level up to that safe level for the steam or water bath canning. So now that the science lesson is out of the way, this is the recipe. It's 4 cups of juice, 1/2 cup of finely chopped bell pepper, 1/2 cup of chopped jalapeno pepper or any combination in between, just not more than 1 cup. 3/4 cup vinegar, and it says you can use white vinegar or apple cider, and I've just got some organic apple cider vinegar here from Azure Standard, and that's what I'm gonna use. 6 teaspoons calcium water, which I have in the refrigerator, I'll show you that. 1 1/4 cups sugar, and then 5.5 teaspoons of Pamona's Pectin. So did you hear that? 1 1/4 cup sugar. That's amazing. That's not a lot of sugar comparatively to these other recipes. Let me show you. Okay, so I got the ball book here, and this is the traditional book, right? The complete ball book of home preserving. And on page 116 is the traditional peach jelly. So this called for 3.5 cups of peach juice, 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, 7.5 cups of sugar. So it was less juice, right? Because we're using 4 cups and this is 3.5. And we're using 1 1/4 cup sugar, and this one is 7.5 cups sugar.
Whoa.
That's just way too much sugar. Way too much sugar. So again, in this, what?
A lot of sugar.
Way too much. So again, in that strawberry video, I kind of showed you and talked about that difference as well, but this is why we choose the Pamona's Pectin. So I have 1 cup of peppers. I'm just gonna put that here in my bowl, and I'm gonna cover it with 3/4 cup vinegar. Okay, y'all, so I've got my peppers, just about a cup of peppers soaking in 3/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. I have 1.5 cups of organic cane sugar measured out. I've got 4 cups of peach juice. I just wanted to show you. So all I did was put my sieve over my measuring cup, and then I poured the liquid and the solids through, right? So obviously there's still some solids in here. I'm gonna need to rinse this out, but this is our peach pit juice. So I'm gonna go throw this stuff in my compost bin, and then we're gonna get everything mixed up in the saucepan until we get to a good consistency for jelly. Okay, so in our measuring cup with our 4 cups, we're going to add our calcium water. Now, if you remember, we made this calcium water last time when I had done that strawberry jam, and it's been in the fridge ever since. So it has not gone to waste. When you open Pamona's Pectin, you will find a little instruction booklet. You will find the Pectin packet, and you'll also find another little packet for calcium, and all the instructions are there to help make your calcium water so that you have that ready. So go back to that strawberry video in order to watch that part and understand that. But I'm gonna add my calcium water to the juice as the instructions say. And I'm adding 6 teaspoons calcium water. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I still have some left, so that'll go back in the fridge. I'm also going to mix my powdered pectin in with my sugar. And I need, over here, 5½ teaspoons of pectin. I might have to open another box. In fact, I'm sure I will. One, two, let me go get another box. So now you get to see me open another one. So, instruction booklet with some recipes. Here is the calcium packet. And so their instructions are there on what you do with this, and you mix it with water, spring water, chlorine-free water, and then you keep it in the refrigerator. And then here's the pectin. So I was at 2, right? 3, 4, 5, half. All right. So we have all of our ingredients here. We've got our sugar, our pectin, our peppers, our vinegar, our peach juice with the calcium water, and our saucepan. So we're gonna start mixing this together. I'm gonna pour my peach juice in. As well as my peppers and vinegar. And we're gonna bring this to a rolling boil. Once we have this to a rolling boil, we'll add our sugar. Guys, I don't know if I had the camera on or not, but I got this to a rolling boil. I poured in my sugar pectin mixture, and I've just been stirring, keeping it at a boil for just a couple of minutes, making sure that pectin got fully dissolved. And I'm just looking to see if I see any clumps. And I don't think so. So we're gonna leave this at a boil for about another minute, and then we're gonna ladle this into our jars. And we're gonna go to about a 1/2 inch a head space, and we're gonna process this for 10 minutes. All jars are processed and I'm excited to see how they turn out. I will definitely open one and try one before I decide if I want to give it as a gift. I would recommend you do the same with just about anything you make, right? Make sure it tastes good before you give it as a gift. Thanks for joining me on some ideas on how we're going to process these peaches. Like I said, I still have 50 pounds left. So I am going to be, for the rest of the day today, slicing and dehydrating because I want to get more dehydrated. I've got a big pot on the stove of boiling water, a big bucket of ice water. I'm going to be blanching a bunch of them and trying to make a lot of peach salsa. If you're interested in that peach salsa recipe, it is in the all-new Ball Book of Canning, and it is on page 173. This is the 3rd year we've made it, and we love it. So we'll be making that later today. Thanks so much. Stay healthy, stay well. Bye-bye.